When we're talking about networks, what would really be the most basic network? What would I need to make a network? Well, I could actually just have two computers directly connected to each other. That's not done often, but it can work. I could have them connected through a switch, or maybe through a switch or directly to a printer, or it might be through a router to, say, the internet. All of these are very, very basic forms of a network. So if you were to say, well, what is the basic building block of a network? Well, really, I suppose it could be any of these. Two computers connected directly might be considered the basic building block, but since we use a switch most often to connect them, you might consider that the most basic building block. So it's not an easy question to answer. But as long as you're connecting two devices, electronic devices that communicate with each other, and we could rightly call them computers, then we could call it a network. Now, what about this printer case? Well, in the case of this printer, I am assuming that this is a smart printer and a network-aware printer. So, for example, you can put an IP address on this printer. Now, you wouldn't need an IP address in any of these cases with the exception of this last one where you're connected to the internet. So you can use computer names or device names to connect them. So only when we're using the TCP/IP protocol do we really need those IP addresses. But for a printer to be network aware, we're saying that this printer can either have a name or an IP address or some other method of calling it a computer, so to speak, on our network. So this would be a very basic network, any of these cases, or some combination of them.